A cow in the field, just like an investment in a portfolio, may seem somewhat boring, in the same sense that there's a lot of cows in a field and there's a lot of investments to choose from. And if you were just to glance by it, it might all look the same. But what if in that field, after further inspection, you found a purple cow? Or in an investment portfolio, an investment that is an amazing opportunity? Well, if you knew all those things, you'd probably want to find it that much more. And that's what the term purple cow investment is. It's an investment that's really hard to find, but so worth it when you do. So the more purple cows that I find on my investment journey, the better my returns are. So today we will be discussing what I believe to be the purple cow in the crypto landscape. And I'll also make sure to do my purple cows of the stock market in a future episode as well. So make sure to subscribe. But let's talk about my first purple cow, and you might have or maybe not have heard of it, and that is ICP. I have a full in-depth analysis on this project, but essentially what it aims to do is become the decentralized internet that can likely revolutionize what the internet is today. Essentially, this is an ecosystem where developers and users can build and use the applications built on this in a decentralized way. So just like we have social media applications today that are run by big corporations, ICP aims to do the same thing, but in a decentralized way. That way there's no moderation on what we can and can't post, but also on the developer side, that way there's no need for developers to be limited to what they can create on the platform. A good example would be if a developer wanted to build something, let's say on Facebook or LinkedIn, and LinkedIn or Facebook had a somewhat okay product that directly interferes with what this person is trying to bring onto the platform. Even if that developer's product is so much better and uses way less data and just is so much more efficient and users will want to use it, just because Facebook or LinkedIn has that initial product already built in, they would likely not allow this person to come and build on their platform. And that is just one example of how developers are being limited on these big platforms run by giant conglomerates. Now, of course, this token will still have some sort of governance, but I love the ecosystem aspect that it brings to the table for what the internet really was in the initial stages and now isn't anymore. It's evolved, and to some extent that's really good, but it's also started to become limited by what these organizations have to say. Now, overall, I love this project and what it aims to do long term, an open and truly public internet, unlike the one we have today. Now, of course, I don't think that the internet is planning on going anywhere or disappearing all of a sudden, but it most certainly should and will likely evolve, whether it's ICP making that change or another project. And hopefully long term, this project is able to do exactly what they promised. Now, next on my list is one that you're probably already familiar with, and a lot of you might be extremely bullish on, and that is ADA or Cardano. And I can truly say that I do agree with a lot of people that are bullish on this project. The big and kind of brutal downside to people that are thinking about starting to invest in Cardano is that this project is already extremely oversized. And I'm not saying for its potential, but it is already one of the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world when it comes to market cap. Does that mean that it's tapped out and it can't go any higher? No, of course not. But do I also think that there are plenty of other similar projects that have a lot of potential for growth, similar to what Cardano has already experienced? Well, yes, I do. Now, even though Cardano does have a lot of that price action priced in, it's hard to ignore a project that's such a big and powerful ecosystem. In the same fact that it's already a proof of stake and many developers are choosing to build on Cardano over many other projects. You might be thinking,
well, why is that important?
Well, the fact of the matter is the more developers that build on this project, the bigger the chance that these developers will build something new and fresh in the market, and that will attract many more users to actually using their platform. To that very said point, over 100 smart contracts were deployed within 24 hours of launch of Cardano's smart contract functionality, which means that the adoption has only started to come in. Meanwhile, the price has already soared pretty high. Again, the potential for growth of the ecosystem is still there, but a lot of that growth has been priced in. So that's where you got to be careful with Cardano. And remember that the crypto market will continue to have volatile swings. So even though you might have not entered Cardano, there will be a proper time for you to do so. And that's not just talking about Cardano as a whole, but every other crypto project that might have already grown to its overall adoption level. And speaking of projects that have grown to their adoption level, which I think Ethereum has plenty of room to grow, but that project we're talking about is ETH, which is currently a proof of work, but we're going to be talking about ETH2, which which is the proof of stake version of Ethereum, which is the long awaited by some and hated by others version of Ethereum. And here's exactly why that is. So even though I love Ethereum, the proof of stake Ethereum is actually much better of a project because it's going to solve a lot of the scalability, speed, and gas fee of transactions problems that we're experiencing today with just plain old ETH. But at the same time, while it solves those problems, it could possibly hurt the overall Ethereum market or even the whole cryptocurrency market for some time. The reason being is because a lot of people are actually mining Ethereum for its profitability. Now, I don't think that that hurt will last because miners can just move to another currency and make it more profitable, but for a short period of time, it will shake up the mining community just a bit. And at the same time, as Ethereum 2 launches as a proof of stake, it may make Ethereum more desirable for institutional buyers to buy in. Most institutional buyers that have bought Bitcoin and maybe have thought about buying Ethereum are that much more likely to buy in once it becomes a proof of stake and may see Ethereum 2 as a much more scalable and easier to use ecosystem than Bitcoin. And of course, I do think that Ethereum is best served as a proof of stake, but it does make me a little bit worried for the network, at least for the short to medium term, which is another reason why I think it's been delayed. If the jump from Ethereum 1 to 2 is not absolutely perfect, it may hurt the network longer than people want it to. And since Ethereum's so big already, not only will it push the price of Ethereum down, but may also create a panic in the overall crypto market. And as far as Ethereum goes, I'm personally not buying any more right now because I bought a lot of Ethereum under $300, and mostly because I know that there is some risk involved with the price that it's at today and the unknown of what might happen when Ethereum 2 launches. All that aside, there is of course risk involved with Ethereum as well because there are a lot of other very well-versed cryptocurrency projects that are similar to Ethereum that actually solve what Ethereum 2 tends to solve and that are already ahead of the curve. Cardano being one of them, and we're going to talk about a couple others as well. But with all that in mind, I do have to include it on the list because it still has a really good ecosystem and prospectus for the future. If everything goes smoothly, I think Ethereum has a lot more room to grow, and I still really like Ethereum. Now, we talked about proof of stake a couple times, and this one is a proof of stake as well. It's a little bit different, but essentially, to not overcomplicate things, think of it like a hybrid proof of stake algorithm, and that is Atom, or otherwise known as Cosmos. And it also seeks to help solve the scalability and the slow and expensive ecosystem that Bitcoin and other proof of work projects are, with an interesting proof of stake model. I like this because they have an inherent one-up on ecosystems like Ethereum or Bitcoin. And with the rise of projects like Atom and other proof of stakes as well, it's starting to become easier and easier to see why Ethereum does want to move to proof of stake as well. Cosmos is very, very interesting in my eyes because it wants to fuse together blockchains very, very easily and build an ecosystem binding infrastructure for all blockchain networks. Simply put, it allows blockchains to communicate to one another and work together as one ecosystem. And because it's a proof of stake network, it is just that much more scalable than Ethereum and Bitcoin in their current state. And another reason why I'm buying Cosmos/Atom is because they pay a nice 5% yield when you are staking their tokens. And that is much more than traditional banks pay. But let's talk about the final one, which I absolutely love. This is one of my favorite projects. I'll be doing a full video on it. If you're watching this in the future, there might be already a full video on it, but that is Algo, A-L-G-O. And that is because it is a permissionless proof of stake protocol. Not only is that very unique in the side of proof of stakes, but what makes this project extra special is the person behind Algorand. And his name is Silvio Micali. He is an award-winning mathematician and was even awarded the Turing Award for cryptography, which the Turing Award is known to be like the Nobel Prize of computing. And the crazy thing is he won that in 2012, which is only 4 years after Bitcoin was invented. And he was actually working on cryptography well before the creation of Bitcoin as well. Overall, Algorand was created to speed up transactions and improve efficiency in response to the slow transaction times that Bitcoin has. And this one also pays a reward for staking of a little bit over 4.5%. Now, the beautiful thing about the last two that I mentioned, Cosmos and Algorand, is that they are still sitting at a little bit below $10 billion market cap. And when compared to something like Cardano or Ethereum, have a lot more potential to grow as an ecosystem into the long future. So this is like buying the mid caps in the S&P 500 if you want to think about it like that. And if you want to see a detailed analysis of any of these cryptocurrencies, make sure to subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see. Smash the like button if you haven't already. And lastly, YouTube thinks that you might enjoy these two pieces of content as well.